Hi, these comments are for MS. This is Michael from bettertoeflscores.com, and you completed integrated speaking task number 4. So it's listening, speaking, academic, and this particular speaking task is going to disappear after January of next year. Okay, let me refresh my memory of what this is. Give me a quick second here. Okay, so if we take a look at it, we want to see. So this is it's about keystone species. So the professor defines it. It's an organism that has a disproportionately huge effect on the environment, and he gives you example of wolves and also sea otters, and then a model response. And I'm going to compare yours to this. It says in the lecture, the professor explains the concept of keystone species, which are animals that have a huge impact on their ecosystems. The main idea is that even if these species are not numerous, they help maintain balance. The professor first gives the example of wolves in Yellowstone. When wolves were removed, deer multiplied and destroyed vegetation. But when wolves returned, plants regrew and riverbanks stabilized. The second example is sea otters. They eat sea urchins, which would otherwise destroy kelp forests. So by controlling urchins, otters help kelp forests survive, which provides habitats for many other animals. So these examples show that keystone species are essential for maintaining ecosystems. Without them, entire habitats can collapse. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to yours.
In the lecture, the professor discusses keystone species in ecosystem, and he states that if these creatures are eliminated, the ecosystem change substantially. He then provides two examples. In the first example, he states that in the early 20th century, wolves were hunted to almost extinction, which led to increase in deer population, and that caused soil erosion and reduction in the habitat available for animals. So they reintroduced the wolves in the 1990s, which restored balance to the ecosystem. In the second example, the professor mentions sea otters, which live along the Pacific coast. They live on sea urchin, which if left unchecked, they can destroy kelp for by eating the roots. This results in a balanced habitat for fish and marine animals.
Maybe
To sum
say
up,
this, having abundance of sea otters or having sufficient numbers of sea otters allows for balance.
these two examples demonstrate that the existence or non-existence of keystone species can substantially alter the health and structure of the
Okay,
ecosystem.
so I think you have the idea. You had a few problems with delivery, a few awkward kind of paces and hesitations in there. So be careful with that. Now let me check your intro one more time with your definition of keystone species.
In the lecture, the professor discusses keystone species in ecosystem, and he states that if these creatures are eliminated, the ecosystem change substantially. He
The
then provides two
ecosystem would change substantially. Let's check your grammar one more time on that.
species in ecosystem, and he states that in the lecture, the professor discusses keystone species in ecosystem, and he states that if these creatures are eliminated, the ecosystem change
Or the
substantially.
ecosystem will change substantially. So if you're using present tense verbs, if they remove these, it will change. So you want to use the present tense along with the future. Now, if you want to talk about a present impossible, you're talking about present possible situation, but present impossible might be if they were removed, it would disproportionately impact the ecosystem, something like that. That's the one thing you probably want to really make the idea here where it says the organism has a disproportionately large impact on its environment. So if it's removed here, where is it? Yeah, if the keystone species is removed, the entire ecosystem may change or it will change dramatically. So either may or will there. So you didn't put that modal in front of the verb there. So I think that's a language use error that you have there. So be careful about that. Okay, let's keep going.
He then provides two examples. In the first example, he states that in the early 20th century, wolves
Good.
were
I think you're
hunted to
doing
almost
better on this one. You made some improvements with the topic sentences and you're better connecting the information back to the lecture. So it's a little bit smoother with the topic sentences as you introduce both examples. So you got better from the last lesson I gave you, right? Based on the last practice test.
extinction, which led to increase in deer population, and that caused soil erosion and reduction in the habitat available for animals. So they reintroduced the wolves in the 1990s, which restored balance to the ecosystem. In the
And
second
I think you
example, the
should probably
professor
mention that it stabilizes riverbanks because fewer deer were eating the vegetation along the riverbanks. So that might be something you want to mention.
mentioned sea otters, which live along the Pacific coast. They live on sea urchin,
It's
which if
sea
left
urchins,
unchecked,
urchins, urchins, sea urchins.
they can destroy kelp for by eating the roots. This results in a balanced habitat for fish and marine animals. To sum up, these two
Or
examples demonstrate
preserving the number of sea otters, you might say. Preserving the number of sea otters restores balance to the marine ecosystem. Or reintroducing wolves to their ecosystem in Yellowstone also restored balance to the riverbanks.
that the existence or non-existence of keystone species can substantially alter the health
Yeah,
and
that's right.
structure of the
Okay, let's take a
ecosystem.
look at the rubrics here. I can figure out a grade here. So this is a little bit of difficulty with delivery. I'm thinking maybe you're probably around, say, 3.0 to 3.5 on this one. I think that your language use, you had some minor problems in that. Nothing major, probably around 3.5. Topic development, I think you've included, I think, the most important information there, and you did better in terms of connecting those different topics. As you introduced the two examples, I think it was smoother in how you did that, and you're showing a good range of sentence variety and vocabulary in the process. So I'm thinking you're probably, I'm going to say 24 to 26 points out of 30 based on the rubrics I'm looking at right now. That would be my best guess right now.